The Osage took their name from Missouri and Osage rivers. Niukanska, children of the Middle Waters. Move, said the great white father.
There are many.
So many hungry wolves. Can you find the wolves in this picture? Can you find the wolves in this picture?
Films I'm fine to seeing. One a day, all June long. And then after, if you're asking, yes, I'll be podcasting. 'Cause movie month's back, and I'll be the man, to watch and podcast all month long. Yeah, movie month's back, for 30 straight days again. I hope each day you come along. Please come along, don't just stay here for this song. 'Cause it's movie month time, this is a movie month. Hoo, 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 honey, it's movie month time, yeah, this is a movie month. Hoo, 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 honey, it's movie month time, yeah, this is a movie month. Hoo, 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 please listen to me as I talk movies.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy June 30th, everybody. It happened. We're here. It's the 30th and final day of Movie Month 2024. And you know what that means? That means for the 30th day in a row, I watched a movie I've never seen before. And for the 30th and last day in a row for this year, I am here podcasting to you, the people of Earth, about it. Now, I don't know if it's factually true, but I am almost certain that this year is probably the longest viewership, the longest time, screen time that I had for these 30 movies, because I watched a lot of long movies. Most of them seem to be over 2 hours. A lot of movies are just long now. If they're supposedly good movies, quality movies, they're usually over 2 hours now. And I think I've watched multiple that were 2:30. At least two that were over 3, right? I mean, oh my God, this was, and I saved the longest for last. Now, I did this before with, some familiar faces and familiar directors a couple of years ago. I watched Netflix, The Irishman, the Netflix film, The Irishman, Scorsese, De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, getting the whole, and of course, Maniscalco. Those are the big names you think of when you think of The Irishman. And here I am back here again with the first movie I've ever watched on Apple TV Plus bonus, whatever the hell it's called, the first Apple TV plus Apple, you know, the first one. Killers of the Flower Moon. I remember hearing about this movie a while ago, and I did not know what it was. I had no idea what it was about. Now I remember at some point there was supposed to be like, I don't know if it was Scorsese and DiCaprio were supposed to do a movie, or DiCaprio, they wanted to do a movie about some killer at a World's Fair. And was it Jack the Ripper or something? I don't know. I might be completely getting all that wrong, but I think that I thought that that's what this was going to be. I was not familiar with the book, the David Grand book, Kills of the Flower Moon. I was not familiar with anything pertaining. Is that a word? I was not familiar with anything about what this what this movie is going to be. I just remember them talking about the trailer. When's the trailer? When's the trailer? When's the trailer? In our text chain, we're talking about the trailer. The trailer. I think one of the guys sent fake trailers at least once, and finally seeing it and just not knowing. I was not expecting it to be a period piece set with focusing around the Native American community and people, the white man kind of messing with it. I don't know, for lack of better vocabulary. I just was not familiar with the story, nor was I like expecting that's what this movie's about. I mean, based on just pictures of Leo in that first photo that was released, I didn't know if he was like, supposed to be developmentally delayed. Watching the movie, I'm still not sure. This was a long movie. It was it 3 hours and 20 something minutes. It was long. And I'm talking to you finally at 9:30 p.m. This movie took me over 12 hours to watch. And it's not because I wasn't enjoying it. It's not as I was just like, I didn't want to watch it anymore. It's because it's long and it's hard for me to find 3.5 hours to do absolutely nothing, even on a Sunday, when there's cleaning and there's grocery shopping and there's errands and there's dogs to be walked and then there's grilling to be done. We did hamburgers and hot dogs today instead of doing it on the 4th of July. It wasn't like it was great out. We didn't cook out. We just grilled out, and it was nice. I nailed it. And then walking the dog again, and then I wanted to read. I'm reading, so it's like I timed it, and I was like, I'm going to take a couple hours now, and I did it. And then I realized, okay, I still have a half hour left. So I broke it up into a few viewing chunks, but I'm okay with that. I remember I used to, when I'd go into Boston every day during movie month, what I would do is I would, rent a movie on my tablet, and I'd watch the first half on the train ride in, maybe a little bit at lunch if needed, and the second half on the train ride out, and I was always done. Like, that was easy peasy as far as time to watch the movie. And I remember a coworker saying, "Oh, I can never do that. I can never watch a movie in piecemeal. Like, I can't watch it in chunks, and I get lost." And thankfully, that's never been an issue for me. I watched many a movie in different chunks, and it's like, I think there's the rare that I've sit down and watched completely uninterrupted without my dog going, hi, do you want to go out? And she did that a few times. And you know what? I am a good Beagle dad, so of course I'm going to do that. But eventually, I just finally finished this movie about 15 minutes ago. And there was a couple things I wanted to check. Number one, I wanted to check on the realism of the movie. Now, I know, it was based on a book, and I know the book was talking about, these murders investigation and the beginning of the Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But I wasn't sure if the real life story, the real life, historical story was then dramatized, was made up. I didn't know if this was a historical fiction. In other words, these people didn't exist, but this kind of thing did happen. But no, this is, very real. Like, their characters played by uh, Lily Gladstone, Leonardo DiCaprio, and introducing Robert De Niro as King Hale. All of them are real people, and this is very much based in a real, true story. It, I don't know, the Flower Moon, I believe, is the Flower Moon is some sort of like they reference what it is, and it's I believe they call the area the Flower Moon, like the flowers and the moon. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong, and of course, who are the killers of the Flower Moon? These scumbags, uh, led by Robert De Niro. De Niro. Oh, I mentioned yesterday, I watched Poor Things, and Emma Stone won the Oscar. And I said, well, of course she did. She was ridiculous. But going into the Oscars, I thought Lily Gladstone was going to win. And that was before even seeing it. I just thought, oh, she was getting all this praise. I believe she won the Golden Globe. And so and Emma Stone might have won the Golden Globe for the comedy, because that's what's screwy is they split up Golden Globes, split up movies into different categories where the Oscars do not. Um, so I remember being surprised that Emma Stone won, but then watching her performance, I was like, oh my God, of course. She was incredible. But then I go and watch the person who I thought was going to win, Lily Gladstone. And I remember seeing interviews with her, or the one of these speeches when she won an award, and she's like, bubbly and smiling and everything. And then I go and watch this performance, and it is so subdued. And yes, you can see there's she has this charm and this charisma, but then she just kind of, you can see the world weighing down on her mentally and physically, and dealing with uh sickness that she's going through. Like, if she did win, I completely was like, okay, of course she won. She deserves it. She was incredible too. So it's hard. I can't even choose who's better. They both were incredible for two incredible reasons. I mean, Emma Stone kind of created this whole character out of nowhere, and Lily Gladstone just portrayed this realistic human being in such an incredible way that she really is the hero of the movie. It takes one visit to Washington D.C. and she is the hero of this story. Really, I thought, okay, this is what I thought was going to be De Niro. So just to give the quick synopsis of this movie, as far as I got it, and remember, folks, this is me you're dealing with. So my brain, my skills as far as understanding the plot, I think I did get it. So the Osage people sprung oil. And what does that mean? That means the white man comes in. And I don't know anything historically, but am I correct that then they set up these laws? So it's like, okay, Native Americans, you can have your oil, and you have your money for your oil. You get your money, but we need to help you figure out how to use that money. It's your money, but we're here to help you spend it, to regulate it. You can ask for it for specific reasons, and hopefully you'll be approved. Am I correct? And that's how it was? That is bonkers. And you could see that it's all about getting control of this oil, because the oil seems to still be flowing and the money seems to be perpetually coming in. You saw these, the Native Americans all of a sudden kind of living in this new 20th century type America, enjoying the better things in life. But there was this dude, King Hale, De Niro, who kind of figured out how to work the system and how to get, get it so that he's part of this family and he owns the head rights, I guess is what they called it. Just so that perpetual, like in the end, everything will flow through him. As long as he can flow through him, everything's fine. He builds up this town, he makes everything nice. But he's really just a ruthless, horrible gangster who takes insurance out on men that he knows are suicidal, and so that he can cash in on them. Who just like it's like he'll stab you in the back while smiling to your face. I don't know. And it's like, okay, we need De Niro. DiCaprio comes in, and he just came from World War One. He's looking for work. He's looking for a life, and De Niro has him sets him up as a driver. Just driving taxis, and that's where he meets Molly, who becomes his wife. And it's like, great, you can get in with her. That's wonderful. And then it keeps the oil in the family. It's all about keeping the oil in the family. But the less people there are in the family, the more that will end up coming to De Niro. And that we start seeing the sisters of this Molly getting killed. And it's either, like certain people are doing it, but DiCaprio is part of it. He's kind of helping set these things up, even though he's not doing it to his own wife yet. To me, when I look at De Niro, I look at a snake, I look at a bully, but he's not playing it like there's a few different De Niros. You think of the tough guy De Niro. Hey, you talking to me? Jimmy, that kind of De Niro. I want him dead. The Al Capone. You get the funny De Niro that's in comedies, but this guy was just like this smooth talking Southern con man who just like it's like subtle, like he just threatens you subtly. Do you want to do that? Like it's an incredible performance. It's one of my favorite De Niro performances ever because you see De Niro and I love seeing him act like De Niro or the De Niro caricature that you think you see in the movie The Tough Guy. But this was different. This was, and you see him in interviews sometimes and he's like, "Hi, how you doing?" But he had so much going on in this uh performance that again, if he won the Oscar, that I would have been okay with that. I'm thinking, I still think Ruffalo was my favorite as far as these nominees that I've seen, even more so than Robert Downey Jr. And even De Niro might have been more so than Robert Downey Jr. I don't know. Robert Downey Jr. was really good in it, but I like these performances better. I think, man. Now maybe it's because I watched Oppenheimer first, and I'm watching this last, so it's been 29 days. But it's kind of how I'm, how I see it at least, and it's what the recency bias is that what it's called. Um, and looking at the best actors, I was like, wow, this has to be a killer year of nominees for DiCaprio to not even get nominated because I thought he was incredible too. And to me, he wasn't the one word that I thought of with him throughout this entire movie was coward. He is a coward. He is like, he was never abusive to his wife, except unless you count, of course, the poisoning, and, helping to kill his sisters. But he was never like slapping her around. I didn't know if that was going to be that. He just kowtowed to his uncle until the very end, but he only did that. I don't know what he did that for. I guess to put him away so that his wife could live out, a better life. But I just thought of him as a coward the entire time he thought he thinks he's in love with his wife. He may be in love with his wife, but it didn't stop him from going behind her back to help take out the sisters because that's what his uncle wanted. He's a coward, coward, coward. He and then he still expects, he's like, I never did anything to hurt you, Molly. And he did, I feel like, did he put something in his mouth, like wear a mouthpiece or something? Because just his face was perpetually like frowning the entire time. And I just thought it was a choice he made. It was just, it was well done because like if you just force yourself to frown, listen to this, it automatically kind of adds a lisp and it adds a way to you talk. So you do like a weird frown. You add a little accent to it, and then of course you add some skill like the DiCaprio has that I don't have, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a cool little performance. I mean, and this is the first time I was like, wow, DiCaprio looks like this is the same guy I saw in Wolf of Wall Street. Now again, that's years ago, but he seemed older in this one. He seemed more of an uggo. Like you see Leo in other movies. It's like that's Leonardo DiCaprio, handsome movie star. And this he's like, my name's whatever the hell my name is, and I frown a lot. and I drink a lot, and I have a bad haircut and bad face and overall bad disposition, and I stink at pool, and I'm a stinky criminal. That was, what I got out of most of it. But incredible performance all around. And I love, as a 3.5 hour movie, I do love um, the breadth of the epic feel of it. That there's a whole part where we're dealing with him meeting this woman, falling in love with this woman. Then there's this whole part where they're trying to take out, these roadblocks that are human beings in the way, killing these people. And then she finally says, enough, no one's helping out. um I mean, this is the same town where you're having a parade, celebrating the Osage people, and right behind you is the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux, which one is the Ku Klux Klan or the Klan? I don't want to type it in to Google and make it be Klux or Ku Klux. Ku Klux. Ku Klux. A bunch of assholes in robes. That's what I call them. Like they're there and they're like, hi, they're like waving like neighborly. It was just like so wild, that this was, in the not so distant, history of this country. Um, I also really liked the subtle, well, I guess not so subtle, but the decision to cast a bunch of musicians in this movie. Some I recognize, or some I know by name but did not recognize, and one I definitely recognize. So, we have Jason Isbell. Now I know that guy, Jason Isbell, as a musician. I don't know any of his songs. I don't know anything about him. I just know the name. I think he's a country musician guy, and he's a very popular guy. That's all I know about him because I don't care about country music at all. But I was like, I recognized that there were musicians in this. So I looked up how many musicians are in this. And it turns out Jason Isbell played a major role in this. He was Bill Smith. He was the husband of two of Molly's sisters because one died and he went for the other. And I guess he's acted in some other things, but he's the guy that, the house blew up. Then I wanted to know who the hell is this guy playing AC Kirby, the explosives guy, the guy who actually blew up the house. And it said Pete Yorn. I go, that sounds like a musician. It is a musician. I don't know anything about him or his single. Oh, I don't know anything about him as far as his music, but his name sounds familiar. This is the first time he's ever acted. And then I was like, who is this guy? I recognize this guy who played. They talked to Henry Grammer, the guy who did all the bootlegging, and it was Sturgill Simpson. I don't know anything about Sturgill Simpson, but he's another country music guy who's done some acting. His face looked familiar, and I was like, I've never seen him in anything. Why do I know him? Apparently, I don't know him, but he's a musician as well. And then the dude who killed Henry, the Native American guy, the guy who was depressed, then he ended up befriending him and killing him. He That's another musician, a man played Charlie Musselwhite. That's his name. He's a Chicago blues legend. I don't know anything about him. It says here in this article that maybe even he might even be the inspiration for Dan Aykroyd's role in the Blues Brothers. Okay, that's cool. And then in the very end, now the movie has like a big chunk of this movie is the feds show up and Jesse Plemons show up, and there's this young Native American guy who's like, "Hi, I'm here. I think I want to meet some of my family." And I was like, "Ooh, that guy, he's too young. He's too, he's a good-looking guy. He looks like a movie star. He's not like, why are they showing him? I bet you he's one of the feds." And when the feds got together and he showed up, I like did a fist bump. I'm like, "Yeah, he's gonna infiltrate and get the bad guys." So I loved the feds showing up. I loved everything that Jesse Plemons was like. We're the Bureau of Investigation, and the when he was questioning DiCaprio at the door, and DiCaprio's like, "What? My wife, she's sickly, like she's ill." Just so well done. When he goes to interview, like you could see these guys. De Niro thinks he's the big wig, and these FBI dudes come in and they don't give a crap about De Niro. Like they don't think of him as anything special. They don't think of him as like he's the big wig in this area. but they're like, we don't like they weren't impressed or they weren't, intimidated. It seemed like, and I thought that was really cool. And I said, wait a minute, isn't Brendan Fraser in this? And then we get to they finally DiCaprio turns on De Niro and testifies against him. I'm like, how many times does Robert De Niro have to stand in a courthouse while seeing a guy who he used to work with turn on him to testify against him? I mean, and it's never worked out for him. Now he tried a little better in this, about 30 something years ago. It didn't quite work out as well. Again, Scorsese again, the connection. But this time, he tried to get through with this, and it was very funny because Brendan Fraser just standing there quietly, standing there. Then he stands up and takes over the court and goes, "This man is my client. He cannot testify. He is my client." Again, he's just boisterous and loud. And DiCaprio is so intimidated and dumb and naive and a coward. He's like, "Am I? Maybe I am. Oh, okay. I want to hear what they have to say." And they try to tell him to say, you were beaten, you were coerced, these are all lies. And he tries to go, he tries to do that, and then he gives up. One of his kids ends up dying. Was it whooping cough? And he he realizes, I'm not doing this anymore. And when he tells his uncle that, De Niro doesn't explode. He doesn't smash the bars. He's just like, I don't think that's a good idea. This isn't a good idea. All these things where it's like, this is not like the way he says it. It's just like his subtle way of like, he's no tough guy. He pays tough guys. He didn't do anything tough in this movie. Maybe he yells at DiCaprio during a party scene, like, "You got not now, not now," but that's it. Um, oh, and just the way that they manipulate and take advantage and just cheat the Osage people out of everything they possibly can to make money off them, is what it was disgusting. He was like a real villain without being like a dastardly, just a friggin' cold, calculating, selfish villain. And it was I long movie. My friends like Dave, co-host of Fine Movies, Fine Spirits, was like, it was long. It was too long. I didn't love it. I'm like, dude, it's long, but I loved it. I loved it. I admit it. It's a long movie, but my God, you know why it's this long? Because the story needed to be this long. It's the way I look at it. What could they have cut out? I don't know. I feel like everything's there to, there wasn't like filler. Everything was there to benefit the story. And even at the end, when, I think he goes to his daughter's funeral and he sees his ex-wife and she's like, gives him a nice little touch, but it's like, sorry, dude, it's over. You freaking coward. I wish he said that with a Boston accent. It's like, sorry, dude, it's over. You're a freaking coward. Then we get this weird epilogue, which was kind of cool also. We get this weird epilogue that was like true crime radio drama being, played out on the radio and also performed live in front of people, which is like, it's very retro, very much of the time, and yet it's very current with people doing live podcasts today and podcasts in front of people. Very much like, or like even, NPR does live performances and live broadcasts with crowds. So it's very much of the time back then and of the time today. So I really thought that was cool. And it's like, this is when we see Jack White. I'm like, what? Wait, where? Jack White shows up and he does a couple, he's doing a couple voices. They basically are giving you the update of everything. How the brother, how DiCaprio got out of prison, ended up living in a trailer park with his brother. I looked up the real guy lived till 1986. So I'm like, Jesus, I was alive when this guy was alive. Even De Niro's character went to prison, was a model citizen, got out of prison, and he lived, I think, up until his 80s. Lily like they're giving updates on everyone, the brother, this, that. Then we get to the update on Molly, not Lily, the actress is Lily, on Molly. And this is when we get the cameo of director Martin Scorsese, who I read said that he delivered this obituary because he wanted the tone to be very specific, and he didn't think there was anyone else. He didn't want anyone else to have to do it. He knew what he wanted, so he did it himself. Where he read her obituary. Well, she ended up, um, you know, getting a new husband and living out her days, but she only lived till like she was 50. And in the obituary it says there were no mention of the murders. So it's like she was part of this major, you know, part of history that nobody really talks about. And I didn't know about. It's not like, oh, they taught us about this in our history classes in high school or grade school. Nope. Nope. They taught us, that the Pilgrims and the American Indians got together, had a turkey, and everything turned out great. No. Um, it's like that's the shameful part of like, I want to know these things because these things happen and you learn from these things. And yes, you know why it looks shitty and looks bad because it's shitty and bad. But there's good people in that times too. And we got to see the FBI. Now, again, I'm not saying this wasn't like this was brushed under the rug. I don't know if it was, but I don't remember ever hearing about this growing up in any of my history classes. I love this is the kind of the birth of the FBI. And I love, I forget where I was going with the historical stuff, but it was just, it was eye opening to see this kind of thing that I had no idea about. And it was just, I said she was the hero, right? Did I mention? Because she went to Washington, she talked to the president, and it's something registered enough where the president said, okay, he sends a couple of Hoover's men down to look into the situation, and that's what starts the everything to take everything down. And I mentioned Pacino because they said no mentions of the murders in the obituary, and it's like, yep, she's a woman who died. She lived, she had two husbands, a couple kids, and now she's dead from diabetes. And even when they first gave her the insulin, I thought that shit's tainted. No, they tainted it later with maybe opium or heroin or something. I don't know. But when the feds came in and got her and they bring her to the hospital, I was like, yes, yes, get her healthy. I wanted her to like come back with revenge and kill people. That's not this movie. People did die. There were murders, but it wasn't like it wasn't an action movie. There wasn't a bloodbath. There weren't really fight scenes. There's nothing like that. But just a really spectacular movie. And just a long ass movie, and a movie to me, I hate to say it, that's made for streaming and made for home viewing. 3.5 hours. Was there an intermission in the theater? I don't know, because I'm not saying I need to get up and get pulled away, but sometimes a guy's got to tinkle, and I don't think I could do 3.5 hours straight. But oofa doofa, awesome. I loved everything about this movie. And I'm glad that I chose it as movie 30. Kind of needed to do it on a weekend. If I did this on a weekday, I would probably be posting this like at 11:59 p.m. And even this is like, 10 o'clock at night. When I started this movie, like before 8 a.m. this morning, but it was worth it. My first Apple TV Plus, whatever it is, viewing. We'll see. We'll see if there'll be more Apple in the future. But yeah, I think I'm done. I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. I didn't write anything down with the notes. I just was interested to see if these were actual real people, or was this a fictionalized tale based on real events. But no, these were real people. I liked seeing about the singers, the musicians who were cast in this movie. And I kind of love a long, long, long movie, because you're like an hour and a half in, you're like, oh my God, I'm not even halfway through. And you can see these major shifts in terms like, this could have been a series, for a season, Like I see that. You could see where episodes would end or things, and then now the feds come in. But I love a movie that is so long for a story that is so big to have the time. Nothing has to be rushed. Nothing, definitely when you're in a 3.5 hour movie, nothing's rushed. But nothing feels drawn out either. It just feels like, oh, now we're at this point. Now we're at this point. Now we're at this point. I don't know. I just was very impressed, very happy I saw this, very satisfied, and yeah, awesome. But guess what? This is where it gets weird. This is where I get a little teary eyed because we're done. Movie month is over. It's the 30th day. It's the 30th movie. Tomorrow, for the first time in like a month, I'm not going to be watching a movie, which is just wild. It's a wild feeling, and yet I've been doing it for 12 years now. By that, I mean 11 years now, because this is year 11. Wait, right? Yes, no, 11 years, because last year was the 10th year, and I was already trying to figure out songs for next year. I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But I do know, I'm almost positive, because I was singing it today. I was trying to come up with songs that are from movies, that are known from movies, but I could work in, movie month lyrics too. And I think I found one for 2025. I'm making a folder now in my Google Drive, and I'm putting an instrumental of this song in there to remind me, in May of 2025, to hurry up and write the lyrics and sing it on a day off, because that's usually what happens. That's what happened with this song. This might have been one of my favorite songs ever, because it was a lot of fun. I think it came out really good. If I do say so myself, I was very happy with how it came out. How about that? I'll say that. I don't know if it came out good, but I was happy with it. So I just want to thank everybody who has listened to this show, whether you listen through the podcast or you listen through the website or you listen through YouTube. I can't say thank you enough. And I look at the numbers. I know there aren't a lot. And here's the thing. Unless you're podcasting for a business, you're pretty much doing this because you love doing it. And if anyone even hears it, it's like bonus. I was that kid who made movies. I made movies, and we watched them with like 5 people. And to us, they're like the best thing ever, but no one ever saw them. And the fact that I can, talk into my computer, talk into my phone, into my recorder, and get it out there to the world where it's there now. And it'll always be there as long as these, services are still available. It's there. People can find it. People can find it 2 years from now. And maybe they will, and maybe they'll listen to it. And that just blows my mind. I have other podcasts that people, they're not big listenership, but there's listenership. And it always blows my mind that people find it and come back for more. Are you crazy? So big shout out to all the likes on Blue Sky and Twitter. Blue Sky seemed to be and Instagram, but Blue Sky is the new one this year for me. Blue Sky and Threads. I don't think we had either of those for Movie Month last year. So I post everything on Blue Sky, Threads, Mastodon.social, Instagram, and Twitter at Geek Mentality. And Twitter, that used to be the one place I posted, Twitter and Facebook. And then it became Instagram, the Instagram was added. But I don't know, Twitter now, it's like most of them are liked by fake porn bots, Gross. Thanks, Elon, for ruining it. But when I see people on Blue Sky like it or Instagram, I'm like, oh, these are people who actually found it, who are people, Blue Sky has a lot of people that I listen to on podcasts, and them like it. I'm like, oh, cool. They liked it. They like this picture of me hanging from a train or something. I don't know if anyone ever clicks on any of the links. And on Facebook, I get people liking the picture, the post all the time. I don't think any of them ever clicked on any of the links, but they at least like the pictures. So, hey, that's something. But yeah, I do this because I love doing it. I do this because I'm a nerd who likes to communicate. And if anyone does hear it, I am grateful. That's just it. I'm grateful. And listen, just because Movie Month is done and Geek Mentality kind of goes quiet for months. In fact, Geek Mentality might not come back until December. I have nothing planned yet. But I might throw in some episodes here and there. But just because this podcast is not putting out a new episode tomorrow, it doesn't mean that I'm done podcasting. If you go to fansnotexperts.com, I have other podcasts that I'm actively still working on, still updating. We have The Mandalorian Man right now is doing Acolyte tonight, every episode of the Star Wars Acolyte show. That comes out on Tuesdays. We have Fine Movies, Fine Spirits that I do with Chris and Dave. We just watched 48 Hours and talked about that, so I'm going to be editing that, putting that up soon. We're doing a Blazing Saddles episode soon. I've never seen that before. I could have done that for Movie Month, but instead I saved it for Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. I have Reaction Comics where I read the old Action Comics, Superman stories, and I talk about them. I haven't done that in a while, so I need to get that up and done. A new episode of that soon. I have a Stranger Danger podcast called Stranger Things podcast called Stranger Danger that I need to start kicking into gear. And it doesn't end. And I have a horror movie podcast called Slash, where I did every episode of the Halloween movies, and I've done the first 4 Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I need to get back on that. I don't think I did the 5th one, right? No. I need to get back on that, get all those done, and then maybe, go down and visit Crystal Lake. So the podcasts never end at fansnotexperts.com. If this one isn't going, another one will definitely be up within, I feel like there's at least something coming up every week. That's the plan. That's the hope. That's the goal. And that's the fun of this. So I hope you find it. The easiest way to find everything is fansnotexperts.com or fansnotexperts on YouTube. And that's it. So thank you to everyone, all the likes, all the listens, all the reposts or retweets. Thank you to Chris for pushing me to watch Inside Llewyn Davis. And we'll see what the Chris Morris special is next year. Ooh, we're only 1 year away from me watching another movie Chris wants me to watch. But that is it. I am done. It is over. Movie month is over. So I won't see you tomorrow, my friends. But thank you for letting me podcast to you all movie month long. That's it. I'm done. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And for the last time in Movie Month 2024, here is my theme song. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kind of funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kind of handsome. My mom and wife says, please listen and please subscribe. Thank you for listening to this Movie Month.
Fans Not Experts.